Okay,
There we
there
go.
we go.
Hi, Katie. How are you?
She's muted.
Hmm.
Okay. Um, Fine. Actually, I had a little mini show, the 22nd.
Hmm.
So it was a dog adoption event at the mortuary down the street from me.
Oh, nice, actually.
The people putting it on had never done any such thing before, but wanted to
Right.
do one. And I kept on saying, well, you need to do this, I think. Oh, like require seller's permits.
Uh-huh. Oh, got it. Basic stuff like that. So how did it go?
It went pretty good, except like, they put it all together and out into the world within like 3 weeks. So there wasn't much time to, tell everybody about it and
Hmm.
get
Well,
more
did
dog organizations involved because they were already doing stuff.
did people show up?
Oh, yeah. People brought their dogs dressed up in costumes.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's
Ah.
cool.
Yeah, and they had costumes on. One little Chihuahua was really cute. He had been paralyzed from a spinal injury from the waist down, so he had a wheelchair, and they made it into a mobile Day of the Dead altar.
Oh.
That's
So,
cute.
and the mortuary people decorated everything for Day of the Dead, including putting up a memorial altar for pets and anybody who brought pictures they printed out to put up and all that.
Ah.
So
So will they have it next year, you think?
they hope to. Um, the reason why it took so long this time was, first of all, they didn't think about it until September, and then it took a while to figure out insurance, which they didn't realize they'd need extra for originally.
Uh-huh.
The owner was fine with the idea, and the funeral director stayed there to be in charge, and she got into it too. So,
Oh, good. So maybe they learned some things and next year.
well, I told her, she was saying maybe I should do it like 3 months in advance. I said, I think you better do it at least 6 months and preferably a year in advance.
Hmm.
Like,
And have the application date 3 months in advance.
yeah, but start doing stuff like arranging for these uh, dog adoption groups to be there.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Uh,
Are they
so,
gonna, would it be Halloween again?
that seems to be a good time for them. Like they, the lady said, it's kind of on brand for us to have.
Yeah, yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
but the only problem with that is getting people to come there with their kids.
Well, there were kids there.
Yeah,
Uh,
no, I know, but there would be a lot more kids if it wasn't Halloween and they weren't getting ready to go trick or treating.
well, it was the 22nd, so it wasn't on Halloween.
Oh, okay. Okay. So it was a
So
week early.
yeah, week before that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, that works.
But it was like an 80-degree day, so my knitwear type stuff didn't sell.
Aw.
But
Put up a
well,
sign that says
very
think,
cold.
put up a sign that says think cold.
Well, I brought in stuff like that, so it's really for the season.
Hmm.
But I brought in all the stuff that was Halloween, Day of the Dead, and as far as the cheap earrings went, and those sold, and a few. Uh, well, for Allison, be very low end bracelets, but mine are about average, $35 for a charm bracelet. Had Halloween charms and beads on it.
Sounds like it was a positive experience for you.
Oh yeah, and like I said, couldn't. And she said, "No charge, table provided." But really, you can charge for space there, but she said,
Mhm.
"Oh, like, we did it so much at the last minute, we're just grateful people came."
Right, right.
But
Yeah.
they were trying to get people that had something to do with dogs or at least pets in.
Mhm.
So I didn't have that much that was, but they seemed to like it. And there was a lady there that did pet bandanas and collars,
Mhm.
home sewn type ones.
Yeah.
And then there was a man who he had it done at a factory, a local food prep factory, healthy treats for dogs.
Mhm.
And then there was a mobile pet supply company.
Uh-huh.
Their main thing was a van, and then they had a warehouse for stuff. They closed down their shop during the pandemic, so
Ah.
all mobile. And then there was a lady next to me. She just did soaps and lotions and stuff. And another lady, I don't know if hers was stuff she had made to design or if she was just selling. It was like plastic keychain stuff, but
Mhm.
they had different characters on them.
Uh-huh.
So, but the lady with the soap, I don't know. I think her granddaughter might have used enough soaps and stuff for herself that she didn't make any profit.
Uh,
But
so yeah, it's funny. I was invited to do this thing. There's a local nonprofit developer, housing developer, and my husband had a fellowship through them. And so like early December, they're having a thing. And I was kind of glad that I'm already booked for that date because it sounds like one of those, they're just putting it together. And I mean, it sounds like yours, at least the community came out. And
funeral industry community.
right. Um, but sometimes it's easier. Anyway, this thing, who knows? They don't have a physical location. It would be outside, and I don't know that anyone would even come to it. So it's kind of nice that I already have something else booked, so I don't even have to
worry how to say no.
yeah. It's
Well,
it's interesting when things like, sorry, go ahead.
this was indoors.
Nice. That's better.
Standard 6 foot by, I guess, 30-inch table, and
Mm-hmm.
as many chairs as you wanted would have been provided. I said, I think one's enough.
Mm-hmm.
And they would have provided a tablecloth if I wanted one.
Mm-hmm.
But
So it sounds nice and accommodating and friendly.
yeah, well, it's very friendly. The two women I know down there are characters.
Mm-hmm. So the funeral home people, they have a sense of humor then?
I'd say they're trying to become part of the community and, saying, hey, we're not just for dead people.
Uh-huh.
So
That's nice.
they have a chapel there. They rent it out to other funeral homes that don't have that kind of facility.
Mm-hmm.
And they've rented it out for business meetings and so on.
Mm-hmm.
They host a local networking group there once a month. The one lady's going to get married there.
Oh.
Whenever she decides their wedding is ready to
Uh-huh.
go.
A Gothic wedding.
I don't know, probably.
His and her caskets.
What?
His and her caskets.
No, it's very nice inside the chapel, and it's not that way. They put cute type stuff up for the event, but I'd say at least half of it was Hispanic people coming, other than some of the funeral industry people. Most of them were young, say late 20s, mid to mid 30s for the most
Mm-hmm.
part. The lady
Why do
next
you think it was that group of people?
Um, Partly because the two women I know are in that same age group, and
Oh,
also people that are working at about that level. They're
mhm,
not the owner, although the owner did stop in and say, "Wow, this looks nice," and
mhm.
went off. Um, but and then there was family of those people, and including a great grandma and
Mhm.
another daughter that came up from Tijuana for the day to support them.
Uh-huh.
Um, the one only one of the dog groups came, and the person who was supposed to be bringing like 6 dogs had a positive COVID test, so it didn't come. So they ended up with only 2 dogs there that were like for adoption. but
Oh,
but
that's
you
too,
know, they passed
that's too
out
bad.
on what they did, and they also did training, rehab
Mhm.
training, as they called it. The
Uh-huh.
one dog had been a bait dog, so he took quite a bit of work to get him socialized. But anyway, it was fun. And like I said, couldn't ask for anything closer.
Uh-huh.
I had to bring my car just to carry stuff, but
Right.
otherwise I could have walked. Probably closer
Always,
than parking at any of the shows you do.
ah, always good to try different things.
Yeah,
You never know, right? Yeah.
but there was no MLM there, as it's called, um, which is a problem with small craft fairs around here, at least. Uh,
Well, I did open studios the last 2 weekends, and it was very easy, of course, because I
yeah,
don't have to go anywhere.
right.
I cleaned my studio, set it up where people could see my workspace, but they can't walk back to it. And so um, it was kind of slow this year. Made a couple, so I have with my work, I know a lot of times people think about it, but I went to the Thursday before open studios, we had to go hang our work at a preview event, like through the weekend. There was a preview party, and so a friend of mine had a little gathering at her house after that. And I had my cards with me and met some people and um, handed out my cards. And so one of them actually came to my studio, and I think if she bought something, I think she'll be a good new customer. Um, I did see a lot of local, I mean, just from the zip codes, a lot of local people.
Well,
And
that's good.
yeah, yeah.
Let them
So
know your farmer's market.
right, right. I suppose so. But yeah, it was pretty quiet. There were over 100 artists, and the span of travel is you have to be 12 miles from the Palace of the Governor, so it's the center of town. So really the span would be 24 miles then if you're going from
Mhm.
one end of that 12-mile zone to another. So and I'm pretty centrally located. But anyway, I guess you never, so then I think, oh, should I have done the local artist market instead? I mean, you just never know what you put out there, but seeing people is important.
Yeah.
There was one day I saw only one person, but she bought from me. So my sales rate that day was 100%.
Yeah.
But we always have to try different things. So
Well, I went down to that show not expecting much of anything, and I had sales. So
yeah, that's great. That's great. And it's, I think it's not a bad idea. Some of these things, some of these experiments we try having, no expectations and just keeping a good attitude the whole time.
yeah, Plus, it was fun watching the dogs come in costume,
Mhm.
especially
I
that
bet.
Wawa. He was running around all over the place. Not really slowed down by having to use that wheelchair.
Oh,
And, his his mama there said she's had him 3 years now, and she dresses him up different every year.
yeah. Oscar, where are you
This weekend,
right now?
now I'm at home.
Oh, okay.
You have a
Next
fancy
week I
house.
need to. Oh, so next Monday I need to drive to Florida
Oh,
to
Ah,
to drive take the camper down.
Are you going to Great
And
Gulf Coast, Oscar?
what?
Are you doing Great Gulf Coast in Pensacola?
No, I just going to just drop the trailer. I will come to
Oh,
pass
okay.
through there because I don't want to be driving the trailer with the van loaded in the middle of the winter going down there. Because they don't salt the street properly. They're not, and I don't want to be pulling that much weight with the van. So I'm kind of excited to be going down there. It might take me 3 days to get down there instead of 2. But we'll see.
oh. You have to go slower
need
with
to
the
be-
trailer.
Yeah. But I need to be back Sunday afternoon. I need to be back.
Have you
Oh, court.
have you studied the weather?
No, it's going to be what it's going to be. I don't want to worry about it. I don't have no
Where you
choice. That's
going?
only
Wouldn't you want to know though if there's like some major storm coming in?
there's nothing I can do about it. That's the only week I can do it.
Right, but
Oh, that's
there,
right.
I mean, there could be like whiteout storms, in Georgia.
Then
No.
I'm not going through Georgia. I'm going to go
I
through.
can answer that.
Yes.
I can answer that because I'm going to be in the mountains of North Carolina. No, it's going to be clear sailing all the way. It's going to be colder, but it's not going to. There's no precipitation.
I was once teaching in Florida, and the entire northeast seaboard was shut down because of storms, including Florida. I was like the only one able to leave because I had a direct flight to California. But anyway, they do get snow, and it's worse down there because they're not prepared for it.
Yeah, it's I need to just take the trailer. I was going to take it this week, but I got too many jobs, and I'd rather have the money.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I need to be back. It's Monday to Sunday. I only have 1 week to get down there and drive back right away.
Oh boy.
So, but
Hey,
it's fine.
hey Oscar, if I had a place to put my vehicle, I'd drive down with you because I'm gonna be passing you as you're gonna be coming down.
Yeah, but I'm not going to go through Georgia. I'm going to go through.
Well, just for you, I would go over to 65 and and connect, but I have no place to put my vehicle.
What I'm going to do is going to drive 65 the way down to 10, and then 10 into Georgia, into Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the route with less mountains, and take it from
That's
there.
true.
No point to force the issue.
Yeah, I'm going to take 75.
What mountains are you talking about? There's no mountains out
Smoky.
there. They're all like 3,000
Smokies.
feet high. joking.
Smoky Mountains. Let me tell you, it's steep.
Yeah.
Blue Ridge Mountains.
Right. No, I know. That's Blue Ridge Mountains, or that's what Eric and I drove on our way out to California. Not a direct route, but very pretty area.
There's a there's a section in between Nashville and Chattanooga that you go through the mountains, and there's a section you can let your car an aisle, and it will going down the hill. It can reach 85 miles an hour, more if you need to hit the brakes, or the car doesn't do the automatic slowdown.
Hey, I have a question for Oscar and Court. Who are you buying aluminum picture frames from now?
I've been getting my stuff locally but I haven't bought any recently.
Who I buy my frames is I used to, the company I used to work with, Precision Molding. I still buy them wholesale from them. Basically, they cut it down for me, and then I just pick it up, or they drop it off. But then I will not recommend it to anybody to use it, because they are not the most clean people. When they give you the metal frame, you have to really clean them up.
Yeah. Yeah, but
Because
I mean,
sometimes
they're not scratched though, right?
What?
They're not scratched though, right?
No. It's just the oil to
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
cut it.
the oil and the little pieces of aluminum.
Yeah. The normal stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Mine
So-
don't have much oil on them, but they do have I do have filings on them.
Right. And that wipes right off with a rag. If you catch
I
them.
still think that the best company that I ever saw cutting metal is Gemini Molding. That's that, but I don't have an account with them anymore. So,
Yeah, I have a friend that is going to put together an exhibition. And I'm shocked at how much the prices are for frames now compared to what they were when I used to buy them.
no, it's everything is jeez.
Yeah.
It's
I know.
everything. I mean, even the mat boards, like a 32 by 40. I don't use 100% rack, but I don't use the paper needle. I use the middle one, and now my wholesale price, I think it's $11 a sheet. That's what I used to pay for a 100% rag mat before.
Yeah, but you're buying 100% Ragnet. I don't care about that.
No, it's not 100% rag. It's the middle point.
Yeah.
The rag mat, 100% rag mat, I think is costing almost $20 a sheet now.
Yeah. I'm looking for white core.
That's going to cost you about wholesale. You can probably get it $8 or $9. It's not that much.
Pre-cut
cheaper.
mats.
Oh, good luck with that.
Nobody's cutting
I
that.
cannot help with them.
Have you ever used Frame Destination?
Yeah, I know they're kind of expensive. But I know they're, I know Mark.
I have the 8x10 just backing board sheets. I mean, it's just not even acid free. Doubled in price in the last 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got, I can see that, because the mat board that I'm buying now for $11 used to cost $6 a year and a half ago. And that's courtesy of the Crescent, because Crescent owns all the mat boards now.
So what's the solution if she wants to put together an exhibition?
Just buy the bullet and just do it.
Or
Or
buy
don't do it.
buy smaller metal prints or something?
No, it's called investing in your business.
No, it's not a business. She doesn't do art shows.
So
So then I would say, think outside the box. Think about other materials that could, you frame a piece so it's neat and clean around the edges and all that. So think about something else that can work that's maybe not meant for that purpose, that
No,
could
but
be
they all
made
have to
easily.
match. They all have to match.
Right.
She's being
Okay.
given the space.
Look at Hobby Lobby and look
Oh,
Yeah.
at,
no.
let me finish.
I love
Look
it.
at- Depending upon your politics, Hobby Lobby is an option, or Michael's.
Yeah, I know that.
So you mean if you like hate gay people, then I
Yeah.
mean,
They, a lot of times they'll have sales. She might be able to find, if she sticks with standard sizes, she can find something on sale that may work.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I was today at Blake, our supply stores. You can find 24 by 30s, 18 by 24s, and they're not that expensive. They're crappy frames, but if it's a one-time use, they will do fine.
The Dick Blick metal house, the Dick Blick house metal frames are good up to 20 by 24. They have plastic glazing. They have the cardboard backing, everything you need, and they are, at least used to be, Nielsen frames.
Yeah, they still are. That's what I was looking today. Because I was just looking, just in case when I'm in Florida, I need to do something else. So,
Well, I would look at the Dick Blick house metal frames.
I think that if you do a 22 by 28, what's going to cost you just the rails, at least in here in Chicago, what's going to be $60.
No, we're probably looking at 11 by 14s.
Oh, it's you should be able to find it ready made for $20 a pop in Michael's or cheaper, and they look really good. Let me see if I have one. Start using once in a while.
Well, if you go Michael's, make sure you check for their coupons, because,
Yeah, I know. They always have sales.
yeah.
Just like Joanne Fabrics.
Well, the Joann's closest to me doesn't have,
No, they don't have frames, but they always have coupons available.
oh, yeah. I
Yeah,
don't know.
that's
if
what we're
Michael's
talking about,
has
Oscar.
them too.
That's from Michael's,
Okay.
and this costs $15. Regular price. Sometimes they have it like
With the glass and matte or just the frame?
yeah, glass and matte board.
Oh, okay.
why do things need to be framed in the first place?
They're going to be hanging in a gallery.
Right, but I mean, there's other ways to hang things like
No, no.
industrial. Yes, don't. I mean, they're like binder clips. There's all
Yeah, but
kinds of
no,
ways.
no,
Not
no. The
professional.
whole gallery is filled with frame stuff. You can't do that.
Not professional enough. You have to have frame.
Right.
Yeah, it sounds a little mainstream. Like, I mean, there is going outside the norm, and it could be a lot cheaper.
The metal gallery frames from Dick Blick are $25.99 for 11 by 14 frame. That does not include a mat.
Does it
But
include
that's
glass?
frame. That's the frame, glazing, and backboards.
Okay.
It was my experience with the gallery, like, well, I didn't really own it, but I kind of ran it, is that people take the item out of the frame and put them in their own very expensive frame.
Oh, that's
Well,
interesting.
yeah, but that's fine. But
I
that's
know.
But that's if she sells something.
But you still have to put it in a frame.
Right.
You don't
Well,
have to do anything you don't want to do. You could come
Well-
up with an entirely different way that's different. That's all I'm saying. It doesn't
That's-
I mean, it's the same thing like with shows. I've heard people complain that they're put in a box, right? And so there are other ways to hang things. There's, depending on what you're selling, you want it to be archival and all of that. But, there are ideas that exist out or that don't exist, that one might think of that's alternative. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I know, but the
So-
whole gallery is filled with competing framed work.
Yeah, I I would tell you just go to Michael's or
And-
Joanne
and-
Fabrics or
Well,
whatever
Michael's
company.
when something's
about.
on sale.
Yeah. Otherwise, you go to it gets really expensive. Ridiculous expensive, to be honest with you.
No, I know. And there's a chance she won't sell anything.
Correct. That's the other thing that you have to be careful about. It is that's the risk that people don't think about it sometimes. So
She's probably not doing it to sell anything. She's doing it to have a show.
yeah, but
No,
you don't want to
she's
make
doing
your
it to
money
sell.
back.
Not necessarily.
So Larry, you know what my method is.
Yeah, I know.
He can spray paint them all to be the same color, even if they're not the same design.
Right, but not aluminum. It
No,
rubs
not
off.
aluminum. I thought y'all were talking about regular frames too.
Nah.
All right, I'll go back on mute now.
You cross it.
Well, at the Georgia O'Keeffe Museum, there were these frames that looked like they were metal, but upon closer looking, they actually were wood, and it was like a metallic kind of paint. I mean, they were custom made, but you know, I could have sworn they were metal, and not.
Bonnie, happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you very much.
Bonnie's here. Happy birthday.
Thank
Happy
you.
birthday.
Oh,
Hey,
it's your
Bonnie, happy
Thank
birthday!
you.
I was
Happy
hoping you'd
birthday.
show up.
Yeah, just a little late for the party.
your own party.
I'm sorry. What was that?
Your own party.
There you go.
Is today your birthday?
Yes.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Halloween.
You know, on your Facebook page, I thought it was really funny. You said, it says here, I'm an artist. I thought that was great. Because that's how I feel. It's like, I'm not going to call myself an artist, but if you want to call me an artist, that's fine.
Yeah. Oh, the fact
What
that my
what do you
name tag, the quote is my name tag says I'm an artist.
Right. That's right. Yeah, that's what it was.
what do you call yourself, Barry? Then ceramic,
I call myself Barry
artist?
Bernstein.
Right? But if you had to, I mean, do you call yourself a ceramicist?
Oh,
Anything
it
like that?
depends. It depends where I am, but probably a potter.
Mm-hmm.
It really depends.
There was a
Yeah.
line in a movie, I don't call myself much of anything.
I don't know.
I don't remember.
Allison, what do you call yourself?
Well, I don't like to call myself a jeweler because it has different connotations. But if pressed, I'll say jeweler metalsmith.
That's
Which
the same
no-
thing I do.
Yeah, and I don't even know if people know what that means, but
Could mean
I do
Juliana
metalsmith, and
Metal.
if they look questionable, I'll say jeweler.
on my card it says metal arts jewelry design.
Oh,
And-
that's good.
And while somebody might not exactly know what it means, hopefully it connotes, that it's not traditional jewelry.
And that you make it.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah.
Larry, I found you some, they're under their gallery frames, and I can't tell if they're metal. I think they might be metal. It doesn't show a cross section of the molding, but you can get an 11 by 14 with a mat with a 5 by 7 opening that if the prints are bigger than 5 by 7, she could really easily cut that opening. And those are $20 a piece.
And where?
Dick Blick.
Oh. Yeah, she doesn't have a mat cutter or anything. She works for the post office.
So
and she only
Anyway.
has 1 or 2 days free a week. And they called her and said that they have space in the gallery starting this week. So
Wow.
she's supposed to come over with her digital files, and I'm going to format them so they could fit inside, a matted frame. And then I can get them printed at my lab.
I don't envy you 2D people. Frames are such a pain in the neck.
It's not. It's if you do it all the time, you get used to it. It's not a big deal.
Mhm.
It's more about carrying one place to another place safely.
Hey, at one
Uh-huh.
time I had an account with Nielsen.
Hmm.
Way back when.
I used to use all Nielsen frames on my home art.
Right. Everybody used Nielsen number 11 or copies of Nielsen number 11.
Yep. That's
Do
still
any of
standard.
you make your own frames and cut your own mats? Either or.
Who?
Anybody here that does 2D work?
Oh, I used to I used to cut all my own mats.
Yeah, and I cut all my own mats and frames.
I can do all that stuff with my sleep.
My frame sections are come pre-cut, and my mat, I have master sheets cut down to the outer dimensions because I only have about 3 or 4 standard outer dimensions, and then I cut the openings myself.
Right.
I got to tell you, after 13 years working in a frame shop, I really don't want to see a frame ever again.
I still have my C80 mat cutter in the basement.
Ugh.
I used to have a speed mat cutter and I sold it.
Yeah, I use my Mac cutter all the time, and I use the wall mount to size things down. But I don't want to cut a frame or join a frame ever again. It's too much work. It's
Well,
easy
it's
to
not
do,
just
but
too much work. You have to have room for 10-foot molding.
yeah, I know. I have it. It's not a big deal.
And as Bonnie
It's
just said, so many of the people, so much of the artwork in her home is framed. And that's true for a lot of people that buy art, that's what's in their home, is framed art.
Not anymore. I mean, mine isn't.
Yours
Yeah.
isn't anymore?
Very little of it is framed. It's all different things, not frames. Per
Right,
se.
like if it's an oil painting, the artist might have painted around the outside, so it doesn't need a frame. That's
Right.
I think fantastic.
Yeah, so I rarely have frames on, well, I have frames on a few things. Big things. Well, may I just say, Court, you are looking exceptionally dapper today.
Thank you.
I thought we were all ignoring that.
I thought calling him Dapper Dan.
I thought that was his new look. That's all. I didn't want to say anything to make him feel uncomfortable.
I thought it was a Halloween costume.
Yes, I'm going as Barry.
You know what? I don't have it, but I don't have a hat like that.
Oh,
And if I did, I'd have it at an angle. a chapeau.
There you go. Oh,
And I'd probably wear a jacket with an ascot and have a cigarette holder with a cigarette in it.
A long cigarette.
Yeah.
it has to be a long holder.
Yeah.
And actually, what are they called? Half cigarettes, half cigars?
Cigarillos?
Yeah.
Dipperillos. Dipperillo?
yeah, those are bad for you.
Tipperillos have an end on them, a plastic thing on them.
That's why I know they exist, because our cottage, the way the water moves at the cottage that we used to rent, the Tipperillo tips, the plastic part, would wash up on the beach all the time.
Oh, that's really
Assuming-
sad.
Yep, assuming
right.
that
Along
people
with-
were out on their boats and just flicked him off.
Yeah,
Like-
along with used prophylactics.
Better
Haven't found any of those.
than needles.
Yeah.
Yeah,
syringes.
we've
Oh,
got those
yeah.
outside in my neighborhood. Actually, Eric found a bag of unused needles, a huge bag, and maybe somebody stole it from a needle exchange place.
Geez. At least they were clean.
Right. Well, we don't touch them. We call them. I know every number to
Right.
call depending on the specific problem.
Very good.
I like it.
So can I ask you a question to everybody? Did anybody listen to the last podcast from Douglas and Will?
I
Not
just
yet.
did. Yeah. Yes.
Nope.
Well, if
Yes.
I would suggest to everybody to listen to it because I think something is brewing. And since I'm going to be doing our show for 9 more years at least, I'm a little concerned because I really don't want to be fighting a fight with idiots all the time. And I'm glad that this girl see the same way that I see it, even she does something totally different. I think that some people have an issue with the photography or any type of work that does multiple off. So it
Hey,
will be interesting.
first of
I will
all,
listen to it.
I just met her. She was before this, like a week before. She was next to me at Tennessee Craft, and I really liked her as a person. But Oscar, I've been telling you the same thing. Like, don't stop listening to people. Do what you want.
No, it's not that it's not I do whatever I want. It's not about that. It's just I don't want to get to the point that people are saying photography is not allowed because you have it too easy to make it work.
So what? That's their problem. Hey, it's like
Well, the problem,
it's like in clay. In clay,
the
it's like
problem
waxing
is-
is so easy.
The problem is that these are the same people that jure you to some shows, and then you find yourself no entering to any show because the trend that I'm finding lately is like they want to just make one off of the image and that's it, and that's fine dandy, but that's not for me, and they're concentrating too much into
Well,
the technique, know what the image does, like
One of a kind.
Yeah, but what are you saying? That they're going to outlaw photography?
That's the what I keep hearing between lines, that some fine art artists don't like photography in general.
So?
It's the same.
so
That's
what?
like the 1960s or 70s. That's not.
Yeah, but it's never been this loud as
Now, come
I
on.
know.
Oscar.
Maybe it was worse.
Artists, okay, artists don't like jewelers. Tough shit.
Yeah, I know, especially dealers that sell a lot.
That's right. That's the
right,
attitude
right.
you should have,
The myth.
Oscar.
I just saying. I just saying. I just can't keep doing. I kind of want to change what I'm doing because anybody, but it doesn't mean it doesn't bug me or doesn't annoy me.
It,
Because I
it
just like
can
to roll
annoy
my
you.
eyes. I used to roll my eyes. That's about it.
Well, does any
I don't
part of
think
it, is
you-
it,
Sorry,
no, after you.
I don't think you have anything to worry about.
Excuse me.
There are,
I hope not.
Does any part of it, Oscar, do you think has to do with how photography is produced these days versus how it used to be produced?
yes,
Yep.
I'm not
Wait a
Oscar.
second. Wait a
You know-
second. It always used to be produced like this.
Yeah, that's my
Only-
point.
There were a few number of photographers that printed their own in wet dark rooms, and now digitally, less than half of the photographers print their own.
Right, but if the show rules say that the work has to be produced by the artist in the booth, if the shows are going to,
Supervision. I wrote an article about this probably 15 years ago because I interviewed like people from Magnum, from Henri Cartier-Bresson, the most famous photographer in the world, never printed anything and never numbered anything. He had his own printer, somebody that printed for him.
Okay, but if we with photography, if you say that you don't have to actually prepare the work that's in your booth, how do you say to a ceramic artist that you can't make molds and send them off, that you can't say to a fiber artist you can design it but you don't have to actually make it?
But who's saying that?
The show rules. Correct me if I'm wrong, Bonnie. What
I
do
am.
the show rules say? Does it say that
About
the
what?
work-
I'm missing something.
the work that's in the booth, does it have to be made by the artists? Are they allowed to send work off elsewhere to have it made?
It depends on the show. Some
Depends on the
people,
medium.
you cannot
Does it depend on
do
the
it.
rule? But if the rules say made by the artist that's in the booth, what is that? How is that interpreted by shows?
Or
It has to
under
be
his
made-
direct
I got the answer.
supervision.
I can tell you that
But-
the director will say to you, prove it. You have to prove it that they didn't make it. You can't do that. It's impossible. So basically, you can get away with anything. The rules there, and you hope that people are going to follow the rules, but there's no guarantee.
I will tell you what the problem is, and this comes from talking to some show directors and the feedback that they've gotten and everything else. And I will tell you exactly what I told the show directors. I explained to the show directors that metal prints are no different than going to a lab and having color prints done. I explained that it takes a lot of equipment and you have to do a lot to make it cost effective, and that it's just not feasible for most photographers to do that. So there's really no difference between a photographer sending out sending out an order to a lab for a metal print than it was for a photographer sending a negative out to a lab for a color print.
I disagree with that, because when you send it out to a lab before, you got the prints back and then you had to prepare them. So you saw.
Okay, well,
that
let
they
me
were
finish.
printed-
I'm not
Oh.
done. I'm not done. The problem today, and what's causing the biggest problem, and why a lot of artists are upset, is that a lot of photographers are simply hanging work in their booth. And this isn't just photographers who are doing metal prints. They hang pieces in their booth. They take an order. They call the lab, or that they take an order. They send the order to the lab. The order's drop shipped. They never touch it. They never see it. That's the problem. Taking the order and having it drop shipped is what's causing the problem.
And it is a problem. I'm in that camp, because
I'm going to tell you, quite honest to you, I do a lot of drop ship. I do hang most of my work when I see it. But for me to get to the point, and I'm going to say the same thing that says Callan, say anybody is doing, any of the big guys doing a lot of metal prints, they all got to the point, they do a bunch of tests, they see the print, and they trust the lab enough with an image that's been printing a couple of times. They know that it's going to get there in perfect condition. I spot check my work all the time. I hang my work most of the time. I hang all my work when I'm in Florida. I hang all my work when I'm in Chicago, and I offer that to everybody. So I would say that at least in my case, I would say that at least 75% of the work I see it. The only time I won't see the work drop ship is when I get sent to Philadelphia or New York or California, because I'm not going to be there. But I trust the lab enough that I know that the work is good.
But how do you?
It has nothing to do with trusting the lab. It has everything to do with not laying your hands on the piece that's going to the customer.
Right, I would agree.
Well, that's quite honest with you at that point. So you're asking any person to have the piece shipped to you so you can open it, see it, that's fine, pack it up again, and send it back to the customer. You see how stupid that sounds?
No,
That
it's
way you-
called
people-
quality control, Oscar. It's you're controlling what the lab produces. Otherwise, it's based on the assumption that the lab will produce the image correctly, that what the customer gets delivered to their house is the same thing they saw in your booth. That's the assumption. And if you open the door for photographers to do that, I don't see how you ever close it for ceramic artists, for
Oh,
fiber
I'm going to tell you
artists,
the door
for
is open
anybody
already.
else that, but this is supposed to be open. If these shows are broadcast to the public as this is work made by the artist that's in that booth, I think that starts falling apart and crumbling when you start opening these doors and say, well, you can design the work, but you don't actually have to make it. You can design this ceramics and you can send it off someplace and have it made. And that's okay because it's made to your specifications. Handmade by the artist begins to mean less and less all the time. And I think that's bad for the art show world.
I'm going to tell you, I check my work often enough. Right now, everything I got 3 weeks in between, all my work comes, I saw off the wall, comes back to me. I can see the pictures. I got a piece that I saw Lakeshore, for example. I saw one 40 by 60. I got a 30 by 45 that I printed 2 years ago. I put it next to the 40 by 60. They look exactly the same. Nothing that changed.
But
One
from
can
what-
argue, one can
that-
argue, excuse me, one can argue that what are you buying from a photographer? You're buying the image. The rest of it is technical. And so, how it's done, I mean, might not matter. It's the photographer's eye. Now, if the photographer was like buying stock prints, printing those, well, I think that would not be appropriate for an art fair. But when we see photographers at art fairs, they're creating their own, it's original art from their own purview.
Camera.
And I'm going to tell you one thing. I think I get more consistent results now with the image that I send from a digital file to the lab, printing a metal, than when I was sending a negative to the lab to print it, because the colors always match. Before, there's always a need to see the print because they might have a little bit of Casa Cyan, a little bit of Casa Magenta, didn't look right. I need to tell them to print it again. But
Doesn't
because they're
matter.
working with my file already fixed, color
Yeah,
corrected,
But that's
prepare for
because
the
Doesn't
lab,
matter.
and I don't do anything to the lab, just print it.
this is
I don't know what
irrelevant,
else I
but you
can-
should have been shooting slide film, not negative film. Because then
Well,
it
it's-
matches the slide.
But Oscar, you're talking about, you're afraid photography is going to, get thrown out of shows because it's not one of a kind, handmade. And I'm telling you why that conversation is coming about. It's coming around because photographers are taking orders and having labs drop ship stuff. That's the reason for the discussion.
And you're saying like, you know what the problem is with when people start saying things like that to me? And this is what I say to anybody. If you are busy in your booth, selling your work and making money and concentrating on what you're doing, you want to have time to be thinking what everybody else is doing. Quite honestly, I walk around and I don't know how many painters now does reproductions in metal and sell it in the art shows. Should I be pissed about it, or when they do reproductions and they sell a reproduction that a print that I sell for $50, they're selling the reproduction for $20?
But Oscar, what Court is saying, if any of that view that Court's talking about is what the directors of shows are saying, that's going to influence everybody that produces metal prints or acrylic prints getting juried into the shows. So the discussion, why isn't the discussion then being held with the directors to try to make your point with them? Because if that's their view, how do you win that point? How are you
Well,
gonna,
Because they should be
Oscar
talking
just
to photographers.
Oscar just made a good argument regarding reproductions. I mean, you know, they're taking a painting and reproducing it. So, you know, some people might be printing. It seems like the argument is this: are you printing them at home, or are you having a lab do it? So if you're doing reproductions,
No,
just
that it's not
clay.
even. No, it's not even that, Allison.
that's right.
It
I agree.
is.
It's not.
It is. It is. Am I taking an order in my booth? Am I taking an order and having somebody else fill it and drop ship it, and I'm never touching it? Or am I selling something off the wall in my booth that I produced?
But the question I told you this before, Court. The question that they need to be asking is two things. Are you willing to sell the pieces of the wall? And somebody wants the piece of the wall, are you willing to sell it? And the answer is, in my case, I say yes, no problem. Okay, second of all, the walk around, the old photographers are going to be telling you that metal prints are doing like that. Oh, we ship the piece to the customer, and when the piece comes, we tell the customer to call us and we will come and hang it for them. Or open the box for you.
But Oscar, your fellow photographers as a group, do you think they agree with what you just said? That they will sell off the wall? Because most of the people I know selling metal prints do not sell off the wall. They take orders on them.
I'm going to tell you.
That's right.
Wait. I'm going to tell you, I only can speak about me. And me in particular. I cannot tell you what everybody else is doing, but I think that most people that I know that are honest about it, if somebody want the piece of the wall, they will sell it. I can tell you at least Josh Merrill, I know Mike Bear, I know Darren Olson. They all sell the pieces of the wall if somebody wants it. No, they're not going to say no to that.
If it'll fit in their car.
Yeah. Well, I will drop it off. Or I drop it off to the person. And besides, quite honest with you, the pieces that I drop ship the most is the 30 by 45, the 40 by 60, the 36 by 72. Those are the pieces that I drop ship most. Most of the time, the 24 by 36, if they want to take it with them, feel free to take it. If you want a 16 by 24, feel free to take it.
Change
But
the
the drop
subject.
ships is the size.
Let's
What?
change the subject.
Why?
Okay.
Why?
This is a good discussion.
It's the same discussion every week.
You're
Well, I
sounding
would
like
like
our
to
friend
make
Sider.
I would like to make a comment that Court, I really do think that beret has to be at an angle.
I don't think you can. They're falling for head.
It's at a little bit of an angle.
No,
I
it's
just
not.
happened the way my head,
It
the way
looks
I'm
like it's
sitting
dancing.
is my head's tilting, so the beret looks.
Well, wait a
Well-
second. Isn't that something we can all do?
Yep.
Yes.
Go to
Let's
the
see.
Zoom arrow next to the video.
Yeah, let me see.
Choose virtual background and then video filters. There's a whole bunch of stuff you can put on. You can do a pirate.
All right.
too.
Is this better, Allison and Barry?
It's different.
It has to be actually purple would be better.
I don't have
How about
I don't have
raspberry?
color choices.
Raspberry. Yeah.
And we'll play Prince in the background.
There.
And one, well, I don't worry about it. I'm not even going to say it.
Okay, I want to say something. Okay, so in some ways you both have points, and I only side with Oscar because I'm his friend. But in reality, I'd love to see every photographer just have one of something, and then they can only sell one. They can only sell the original,
Or-
because I have to sell because that's what I have to do.
But you know what? This is the problem with that theory. Is that photography in the art world is not appreciated or valued the same way than an original oil painting. I think that you cannot it's very few people that can sell a photograph to the same size than a painting. I cannot sell a photograph 40 by 60 for $15,000, while a painter can sell a painting for $15,000 or more. I cannot do that. No photographer can really do that, other than Peter
Hey,
Lake.
and I can't sell a $300 pot that should be $1,200. I can't sell it for. I can barely sell it for $300. So that's not an answer, Oscar. The
Well,
inequity is so much greater for pottery than it is for photography. So don't tell me that, because that's bullshit.
I just
Well,
tell you what the market bears. You know,
Well,
I
but
just
I don't
telling you,
think-
the
I
people.
don't think you can say that photography is like painting in the sense that there is no original in photography except the original capture, be it film or be it a digital capture. There's nothing comparable to the painter sitting down on a canvas and painting on a canvas.
Or me making my pots.
Yeah.
I do everything except mix the clay. I have somebody mix my clay for me.
That's right. And that's why your work is much more.
Hi,
pieces-
maybe.
I should be living in Japan where they actually get, or Asia where I could get the money for it. But I'm an American. What can I say?
There's during open studios, there's a friend of mine and her pots, I mean they're big, but they're selling for like $3,000. And she actually lamented, she made a couple of like mugs and things, and she really hated having to do that. But
Yeah.
there is a market for more expensive pottery. I think it's more of an art market than a craft market, maybe.
Well,
Okay,
that's
Barry.
another. Yeah.
I mean, there are
Let me
galleries.
ask you this question, Barry.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. If I go in the dark room where I make 10 prints and I frame 10 prints,
Yeah.
how is that different than you sitting down and throwing a set of 10 dinner plates that are, and you have.
That's right. I don't do functional, so it doesn't apply.
Okay.
Well, that's
You know?
apply to you, but not to. That's not the reality with most potters.
No,
in
but
the
I think
art circuit.
But
Well, those potters.
I think
No,
what Court's
that's
asking
no,
is
because
that
there's sculptural pottery also. So
but I think what Court is asking, correct me if I'm wrong, Court, is that if you create 10 pieces of your pottery, why is Court, ask it again? You ask a great question.
And this goes to anybody, if you sit down and create 10 pieces of the same thing, and I know a lot of artists will use, they will create their own little jigs and things like that. If there's something that they're doing a lot, they'll create some little jig or setup to help with consistency and things like that.
I don't know. No, wait a minute. Let me stop you right here.
Let him finish.
I and all the people that I know do not. I had to interrupt him because he's making his comment that actually isn't true. I make everything. I don't need jigs. I don't do anything. I do it all by hand. I'm a dinosaur. Same thing with Mr. Sullivan.
Do you know how many times I have at almost every show I've been to, ever done, I will sit in my booth and somewhere an artist around me who makes one of a kind handmade pieces will sell a piece, go in the back and pull out an almost identical piece to replace it with.
Almost identical.
Almost.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're one-offs.
Let me put it this way. To tell the differences, you would have to get a microscope out and closely examine it.
Here's the thing, Court. So I have these cardboard patterns. Okay, I'll hold up a bigger one. Just a piece of cardboard, right? So I can have consistency of size. I have a bunch of them. I've made them myself. It's not like I traced them from anything. So here, this is like a long pot earring. It's 2.5 inches long.
That's what I'm talking about.
So,
Almost
no,
all
but the
artists
point is, but the point is that each one I make, because it's not a mold or anything like each one is actually one off, and things will be different, one way or another. Like once I make the pod, some are going to be flatter, some are going to be rounder. They're all going to be different, so they are all one offs, and that's what Barry is saying.
Right. I understand that point, but for the regular consumer, the consumer cannot tell the difference most of the time. And-
But is
and
that the
makes
point,
work.
Oscar?
They can.
Is it not us as the artist and how we portray our art form and how we do things? That's what the public interprets. That's what the public sees. And if we are inconsistent in doing that, or if we do it strictly for financial gain, I think we're killing ourselves as artists in the art show world. I really do.
Oh, that
And I will
brings
tell you right
the-
now, with the current printing system that I have, it was a little more difficult in the old printing system that I have, but the current printing system I have, I can introduce with every single print a minor variation in the colors.
Right.
So are those now one-offs?
Yeah.
Well, and Ansel Adams in his book, The Print,
Hey.
said that when he went into the dark room and he did all of his little adjustments on doing a print, that however many came out of that printing session, that was an addition. Now, a lot of people will contest that, but that's what he said. So if he got 22 prints done, all of them 11 by 14s, that was an addition because it was so unique to that specific day of printing and all the adjustments that he made. He felt that made those images unique.
But to get to those images, he had to print so many because he had a vision that he was carrying out, which is actually what Oscar is talking about. Before he sends his image to the printer, he's already worked through what does he want to highlight? What does he want to sort of like, you know, the old way when you dodge the light. So Oscar is perfecting that before he sends it to the printer in the first place.
If
But
I, as a consumer, like the picture on the right-hand side behind Oscar, and I like that one, and I buy that in San Antonio, and someone looks at that picture in San Francisco and says, I like that print, what's the problem?
Because
Good question.
There is, the problem is artists that make one-off things by hand don't like it. They have an issue with a photographer doing nothing more than taking an order in a booth and having it drop shipped to the buyer. That's what it
exactly.
comes down to.
Okay, let me tell you.
Their work comes in the getting of the photo. Like photographers have to travel, they have to go places. I get to sit in my house and paint. You know, we
But-
all have hard parts.
Right.
but it,
Right.
Right.
I mean, I have traveled, I've spent 2 days in the car driving somewhere for a photo that didn't work out. You know, everybody's different. But what I'm saying is this thing that Oscar's talking about, and I haven't heard I haven't listened to the podcast, but you know, I've been hearing these rumbles for a while. And like I said, I've talked to a couple of show directors about it that came to me, and it comes down to it's the simple fact that their hands are never touching what they're selling.
right. So if the
Okay.
lab sent it back to the artist, the photographer, to confirm and then send to their customer to confirm that it was correct, that would make a difference, correct, Court?
Yeah,
Oh,
it
yeah.
literally would.
Okay, so how are you going to prove that?
Oscar,
Think
you
of the
can't prove it.
carbon,
How
Think
can
of the
you
carbon-
prove that
You
I'm
can't
not doing
prove
that?
You
think of the
can't.
carbon, think of the carbon imprint that would create though. I mean,
But
Nobody
if one
cares.
You
image
know,
came,
that is the most, I'm going to tell you, when people say that, I just going to say, there's so many way around that. I can give you 20 reasons, excuses. Yeah, a piece came to me, I'll open up and I ship it back to the customer myself. Okay, so how you going to prove that I'm not doing that? Oh, how you going to prove I didn't send it to the customer and I was not there to open it for the customers, make sure that was right.
part of that
You know
is
how
that
many
because
times-
if you get
Oh.
that package from the lab and you open it up and you look at it and it's not the same as you have in your booth, is that not an issue for you? The whole assumption of photographers that send something off and drop ship it to their customers based on the belief that when that is produced, it will look exactly like the artist intends it to look, exactly like what the customer
I
saw.
was going, John, around the problem the problem that the artists are having is that I never see the piece. I already answer you, and I say 75% of my work I hang myself.
Hey,
So
let me say something.
I see the work.
Let me say
I
something.
don't have a problem. Wait, Barry, I don't have a problem
Okay.
with people buying stuff from my wall and taking with them from the wall. I don't know what else I can do other than they just bitch in the morning and don't selling the shit. With the amount of money they don't have it. They have too much time to be policing what everybody else is doing. They're not concentrating on what they're supposed to be doing. If everybody's making money, nobody has time to be bitching in the morning about everybody else.
But I don't
just
think
keep
that's
saying
the
this to you
issue.
over and over.
Oscar, I think this is an issue is the ethics in a sense of how art is produced, has been produced, and is being produced now.
Okay, but I just can't say to you the ethics that you guys are talking about is kind of insulting because you're saying to me that I never see my work when it's get hanged. You're insulting me that I don't have that I don't check my work, basically.
Hey, okay.
That's
Can
the
I say
problem
now?
with that commentary.
Okay, let me tell. All right, thank you. I don't. You know what? This doesn't bother me. I don't care. Anybody can. The process doesn't matter if you have a multiples. You know, I'm okay with Oscar's stuff because I know what he goes through to get there. And to me, there's two things that bother me. Only two things. One would be buy sell at a show, buy sell, and I want the quality of the work to be as good as possible. And I'm telling you, the last shows I've done, it's a junk show. Like the quality is getting so bad, and you know, and you talk to these people with no education, no nothing, and they're allowed in these events. The directors have no concept of art or what's good or what's bad, and it's getting worse and worse and worse. You know, some of us longtime people like Bonnie and me, you know, I think Bonnie would agree with me. Would you agree with me, Bonnie?
We were just talking about that today with a friend. I was talking to a friend about it. But the fact that art fairs, you no longer see the same necessarily quality of work, but they're also, the booths are now all pro panel, cookie cutter. What happened to originality in your display? It doesn't have to be.
Because it is expected to have this certain type of cookie cutter display. And
No,
if
it's
you
not.
don't,
Competition.
By who?
Competition.
The first year I did Des Moines, and I was kind of one of the first bigger shows that I did. Stephen King walked into my booth and he looked around and he complimented me on not having pro panels.
Yep.
He said he was glad to see an artist doing something different and not just, you know, doing the pro
That's
panel
really,
thing that everybody else does.
You know what's funny about that, Court? He's the one person that would say, you know, he's the best director in the country in terms
excuse
of
me,
micromanaging it.
he's the one who had me call him. This was right before the 2016 election. My images are in a white background, and he asked if I could put them on a black background. So you know, people want you to be in this cookie cutter place.
Oh yeah, okay.
I mean,
I just
you know, people use
Sorry.
use pro panels because they want to get into shows.
Okay,
And
here's the thing.
Pro panels will not
if you take
will not get you into shows.
no,
I
if
will
you
tell
take,
you, I just juried a show just within the last couple of weeks, and someone had the most interesting booth. I could not believe it, and I was absolutely thrilled. No pro panels, they had different kinds of panels that they were using, and the thing fit their work. instead of just slapping your work on the same background as everyone else,
You know,
from a juror standpoint, we are bored senseless
yeah, but
Well,
with
let
everything
Larry,
looking the same.
let Larry speak.
Wait.
Go
the
ahead.
pro panels or
Okay,
the
but
mesh walls take
It's
the
only fair that I
display
get
out
to
of the
finish.
equation.
Larry, just a minute.
Go ahead.
It's only fair that I get to finish my thought before Larry speaks.
Go
Come
ahead.
on now. Okay,
Yeah.
no, that's it.
Oh, I
'Cause
thought
it's
you
your
were done.
birthday.
Sorry.
Yeah, and it's my birthday.
Right.
Happy birthday.
Okay, Larry.
Well, all I was saying is the pro panels takes the booth out of the equation
No, it doesn't.
No, it
Not
doesn't.
at all.
because they look at it and it looks professional.
No,
It doesn't.
not at all. I
I
look at it
agree
as
with
they took the easy way out. They're looking
I
like
got to tell you-
everybody else.
This is my
Yeah.
opinion.
If everything else is equal, it focuses on the art. But
You
a
got it.
part
Maybe.
of the art is the booth. And that also needs to be taken into consideration.
Okay, so in-
Yes.
in jury
Both
score,
are right.
from your experience, you guys that do jurying too, how much does the booth slide count in the jury process?
It depends on the show. The
Yeah.
show tells you. The show
Now, the
tells
reason-
the jurors how much emphasis to put on the booth image.
Okay, and
But
so
the
from
whole-
your experience, Bonnie, what's the range that jurors will be told to put on?
From
different shows?
0 to 100. There
Yeah,
is
but-
no
So-
norm.
Excuse
So-
me, the whole point of the booth, heard this from like St. Louis, the whole point of the booth is really just as a reference.
It
And-
should be.
So
Right,
what
as
the
a
booth will
reference.
look-
And
to look-
that's
look-
what it was. That's what it was originally
That's
meant to
right.
be. But I don't think it is anymore.
I agree with Bud. It isn't, and it's
Yeah.
ridiculous. It doesn't make sense.
No,
you know?
and how are artists supposed to know what's going to be emphasized by the jurors? Because if they go rogue and they do a different booth slide, are the jurors going to go like, well, that's ridiculous? You're playing into this realm, or like I think Barry's saying, you just don't know. And there's
That's right.
But
value.
you don't need to know.
Yes, you do. You do, because if it's part of your jury score, if the
But
booth
look
slide
at-
is to show you your presentation, but your scoring is based on the artwork itself, that's a different ball game than if, say, 20%, you submit 4 slides and 1 booth slide, if 20% of your score is based on your booth.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
ridiculous.
that's where you have to read where it says on Zap, the jury information.
Yep.
Start demanding that shows tell you in the jury information exactly what weight the booth image has.
Okay, but let me
Now-
ask,
I'm not
Doesn't the booth-
anti-pro panels. I used pro panels for years. But
And Bonnie, I agree, it would be nice if we could be more creative with our booth. But
why
that,
can't you?
because you want to get in.
Right.
Yeah.
Look at
Well,
Jay
there's an issue
McDougal's
with
booth.
traveling with the stuff, and
Look at-
pro
look at-
panels are light and easy to put together.
Look at Jay McDougal's booth. There's no pro panels in there. It's
Right.
different.
Me,
I look
me
at-
neither.
I look at a lot
Yep,
of booths put
same with
together by a
Barry.
lot of artists that are not standard in any way, and I see them getting into the top shows
top
all the time.
shows.
But you know what? That depends on the medium. You know, Jay's
Nope.
booth works with booth. Yes, it does. You cannot, a painter, let me put it to you. Perfect example, let's go to Howard Allen. If you don't use pro panels, you don't get into the shows.
Bullshit.
Period.
Look at the shows Will Armstrong gets into. Will doesn't use pro panels.
Right.
I just telling
Good
you.
point.
I'm not saying. I told you Howard Allen shows. If you don't use pro panels,
Howard
you don't
Allen
get
doesn't
into-
count. Howard Allen is an outlier.
Well,
I've
Yeah,
been
but
to
actually-
Howard Allen shows.
that's-
He has
Nobody's-
more shows
that's
than
the
all the
medium
other
putting
shows
pro
put
panels.
together, so he does count.
I just telling you, they started with this. Most of the artists start with Howard Allen, Amy Ander, Patty, Paragon, because those are promote with basically any promoter show. And then little by little, they work their way up to the upper shows. By that point, to get
I've
into
been doing
those
shows
promoter shows,
for almost 15
That's
years. And I've
you.
never done any of their shows.
Neither have
that's
I.
you.
No,
That's
I
you.
haven't.
I'm telling you, it's just you. This is the thing that bunks me the most about this conversation with artists. It's like they're only seeing a little piece of the world where they're running around in the same circle, the same artists all the time, doing the same show, the same 10 artists in every single freaking show, and they're talking so much about, oh, we have to bring new blood, but when you bring the new blood, they're doing the shows with promoters and they come to see this bullshit, they go like, I don't want to deal with you guys. That's the reality that you guys are overlooking all the time. It's no offense
I don't know
to
about
anybody.
that. I don't know about that, but there's no promoter show that's a top quality show. It's like second tier to me.
Yeah.
That's a point, but because most people doing the shows won't tell you how much money they're making. Some shows, like I know, for example, I can tell you 100% sure that some people rather do a Howard Allen show because they will make 3 or 4 times more money than one of those top shows.
That's fine.
That's because they're doing it for money. They're not doing it as an artist. And listen,
okay, and then comes the other part that I can
one show that's at least
Howard
has at least one show that's really good.
What? What show is good?
St. Armand Circle in February is the one show that
that's for you, but a lot of people talk about Las Olas,
Alexandria.
There's a lot of shows that he does that are really good. In Florida, outside of Florida, that's a different story. Now, the other thing that you're talking about is like bring it up, like the thing with Naples National, that everybody's upside down because one juror decide to read the statement and make a big fuss about the statement, and everybody put it up in arms about that. And I'm sitting here and going like, okay, you guys trying to have it in both ways. Basically the whole system it works when you get in and vision more when it doesn't work. And I know I do that myself, but it's getting ridiculous.
But would not one possibility of helping on this situation be if jurors were required, because if a jury's through Zap, there's a comment section on every single artist at your jury. Put down a simple comment that says why.
Dude,
No.
have you ever juried anything?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have. I've juried a lot of shows.
I have. I've never
Because
juried a show. I've juried a lot of photo contests, and I will tell you that having to write comments on every single one is worthless.
No, it's not, because one, the
Yes, it
promoters
is.
the promoters
Sorry.
begin to see
This
how
is
the
great.
different jurors are responding. And case in point, Stephen King at Des Moines a few years ago, there was one juror that scored everybody so low, the majority of people. I think any sane person would look at that juror number 5 and go, that person had some issues with their jurying. I have known of promoters that have removed a juror for that very same reason and put in an alternate, because they're paying attention to how the jury process works, how people are scoring, and not everybody scores the same. And when those people go extremely strange and rogue, there's no value to the show for that person being a juror. But that
has nothing to do with writing comments.
Yes,
Yeah,
it
that
does.
has nothing
Yes,
to
it
do
does.
with comments.
No, it doesn't. Okay,
Well,
are you
I don't
willing
think
to?
so.
Are you willing to pay $200 jury fees?
That
Are
wouldn't
you
be
willing to-
enough, Court. It
It
wouldn't
wouldn't
be
be enough?
enough.
Would are you
No.
willing to pay $500 jury fees? Because if you take, I mean, 3 minutes to write a comment, and let's face it, you're not going to write any kind of meaningful comment that's going to mean anything
Right.
to anybody for in less than 3 minutes. You take a show that's got 1,000 applicants. That's 3,000 minutes. That's over a week's worth of doing nothing but writing
I
notes.
don't agree. I don't agree with
I
the
can-
assumption.
I can tell you from my experience, when I've been asked, now I always write a comment if I've given what might seem like a strange score, or if it's something that I think might help the artist. There are very few of those. But if I had to do a comment on everyone, it would be things like, nice work, next one, nice work, next one, nice work, next one.
Right, but that's not
Because
the point. The point isn't of
it's
every single
taking-
one.
It's taking away my focus from looking at the work, and it's giving me more focus to, what am I going to say? What am I
Yeah.
going to say about this work? Not, does the work deserve to be in the show? Or excuse me, not, no. Does the work deserve a high score or a low score? I have nothing to do with getting them in the show. Does it deserve a high score, a mid score, a low score? I'm going to be too worried about, trying to juggle that and what I'm going to say to them.
That-
Ron,
that's not-
I've done dozens and dozens and dozens, probably at least 100 juries. Some are big fancy schmancy shows. Some are little more local shows. I learned something from all of them. I do my very, very best to give them my most attention. I've gone to the bathroom. I have something to drink. There's no noise. There's no one around. All my focus goes to that jury. It's just, don't give me something else to do unless I can do something that means something.
Exactly, and
just-
that's all I'm saying is that if you, for example, saw somebody's booth slide that you thought was extremely weak, but the artwork was really strong, wouldn't that be of value to the artist that, in your opinion, you thought the booth slide was weak? That's why their score is going down, but they don't
I
know
will-
that because nobody writes comments. But
Okay.
wouldn't that be of value to the
You
show?
can't say that, because I just said that if there's something like that, I do make a comment. The
And do
problem
most-
is the comments are not necessarily shared with the artist.
Let them figure that out on their own. That's what I say. Hey, listen, I want to say something about Howard Allen shows. I like Howard Allen shows because they have two things. There's two things that they don't have: music and food. And it's only about the artwork, and that has to be considered. I think that's great. Okay, that's all I wanted to say.
That's a good point. It is a good point. Because as I remember a few sessions ago when Court was telling us about the plaza and part of the plaza that just got wiped out by music, what's the value of music at an art show that destroys the ability of artists to exhibit their work and interact with customers?
I'll tell you what
Yep.
the value is. I'm
None.
not applying to it because I don't want to be in front of the music. I want
Right.
to apply to it. Who needs it?
Right.
I gotta run. We'll see everybody later.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah, Art,
bye.
that was
I better
fun.
go too. We've got trick-or-treaters coming.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Take
They should
care,
be
everyone.
they should be giving you stuff, not the other way around. It's your birthday.
Yeah, really?
Give
Can I
you
put a sign
candy.
on the door?
Of course.
Okay, so I did not touch Dick Butt Halloween candy like a long time ago. I did not touch it. I was so proud of myself. I didn't open a bag. I didn't test drive anything. So I go to put it all in a bowl for the trick-or-treaters earlier today. Both bags have been opened, and it
Yeah.
wasn't me.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. After my
Hey, maybe you
bragging.
put it outside.
Yeah. Okay, that's all.
You know
I'll
what
see you
some
guys
people
later.
do?
All right. Bye.
Happy birthday.
Thanks,
Okay.
Allison.
I want to compliment Allison, but I don't want any responses, and I'm going to be very vague. Only she might know what I'm talking about. Allison, I applaud you for taking on the ignorant in a post on Facebook.
Oh. There are so many that I'm a little confused.
I know.
No,
I
that
know.
probably has to
It's
do
really
with
depressing.
Israel.
Is it a
Yes.
totally different subject?
No,
No.
he's talking about the one about the land.
I'm
I
sorry
don't know.
about the
Allison made some comment, and they, people. I was shocked that who responded and I wouldn't say
Do-
totally attack mode, but
Do you mean
it was kind of like
it's
attack
not?
mode. And Allison,
Oh yeah, it's not art related.
No,
it's not art related, and
I know what
it's
you're
already
talking
gone
about.
beyond. All I want to do is
Right.
all I want to do is compliment you because I thought it was great. That's all I wanted to say. We don't
Thanks.
have to get
Well,
into it.
all right.
oh my goodness.
This was Bones, who was at the dog adoption event that I went to. That's his Halloween costume this year. You can see the wheels of his wheelchair.
Oh wow.
Hey, is anybody into Billy Strings?
Well,
No.
He's gonna broadcast a concert live tonight, just the audio of it, for free. He's playing in Grand Rapids tonight.
oh God, where is it?
Oscar,
Yes, sir.
one of these days, you need to stop talking.
I
Oh,
know.
that's not nice.
No
No.
way.
No,
No.
he gets himself in trouble every time.
It's
He's
okay
just an
though.
emotional guy.
You know,
Yeah, I know, but
No.
he's trying to dig
agree.
himself out from an imaginary hole.
Hey, I defend Oscar's right to make a fool out of himself. I do it all the time.
So you know what, Larry? Since May, I'm being biting my tongue. I don't be saying anything. I keeping my opinions to myself, and sometimes I just snap. I don't want to say the opposite, but
Yeah, I
most
know.
and more, time I'm going like I don't want to. I'm trying to. If you know the person that I know personally, I don't talking to that person, and I keeping my distance from everybody.
No, I know. You need to
just
spend more time talking to your cats.
it's probably I don't have really honestly. I'm trying to schedule Tuesdays off so I have a day for myself. All the time I'm too busy with everything else. Then I don't have time to be thinking about anybody else, and though everything is going on, and I don't want to. I don't. I just need to know. I just pay attention to see what people are doing, thinking, and saying. And I will keep doing what I'm doing. If they comes to the point that something changed, then I deal with that situation at that point. But I'm keeping my distance from everybody right now. I don't want to talk to anybody that I don't know personally. I don't even go to the Facebook groups anymore. And here I am. I'm getting more work this week. So, and it's kind of sad because I never wanted to be like that, but now I am like that. I only talk to Allison, Barry, you, and this chat. And personally outside of here is Barry, Allison, Amy Lanster, and Steve and Anita, my friend Adam, and Steve Worker. Everybody else, I just don't talk, and I try not to talk about shows anymore to anybody. I really don't. But you listen to things and you keep going like I got thinking to myself, I got 9 more years. Should I be thinking about an exit strategy now when I'm ahead of the game? That's what I'm thinking right now. Which is I should not be thinking like that. That's the problem. I shouldn't be worried about that I need to reinvent the wheel in the next 2 years to satisfy the new trend.
Do you have to live in Chicago? Do you have to?
Yes,
Why?
my
Why
mom
not
lives in here.
though? But why? What's wrong with Chicago?
It's
Nothing.
expensive.
No, it's not.
It's not, hey, listen,
There-
when Oscar told me what his overhead is, that's expensive.
there are, believe me, a lot more expensive places to live.
And a
I
lot
mean,
cheaper.
Like Santa Fe.
no, they like being stuck in a 450 square foot apartment and being a double renter in Oakland.
Yeah, that would be okay. You're right.
Yeah, no,
You know,
Santa Fe. I mean, that's why there's needles outside. That's where I live.
but very,
Listen, I was just in Hilton Head for the first time. I love Hilton Head, and it's
I
not
remember you
that
said that.
expensive. Everybody thinks, oh, it's a resort area, it's expensive. If you don't live by the water, it's not that expensive, and it's really nice. That's all.
but Barry, the thing is, it's not about how expensive to live in a place or not.
Yeah.
Like, it's how much money I make in Chicago. That's the difference.
You could make the same amount of money in Hilton Head. Maybe
No,
more.
because
There's probably not the population there.
I
know?
I won't be able to do our installations, and I
Well,
and I don't trust.
You'd have to start over.
I don't. You know how long it took me to get to be almost 20 hours with no advertising a week? That
Yeah,
took me almost 7 years.
Fair point.
I don't. I'm really establishing here. I'm not moving because of that. I make enough money just installation to live in here.
Plus, there's other reasons to live in certain places.
And also the other thing that the main reason why I live in Chicago is because I don't need to be washing around my shoulder because I'm a brown person.
Exactly.
You wouldn't have
That's
that
the
problem
other
in
reason.
Hilton Head.
I think that I'm going to tell you from every single place that I've visited in the United States, the only place that I feel 100% confident is in Chicago, other than maybe New York.
God,
That-
I
this
feel
is the only-
I feel it's dangerous in Chicago.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, any place has dangerous areas. So actually, Oscar, you might feel comfortable here.
Yeah, but there's not. I want to be able to make the amount of money that I'm making here. That's the other thing.
Well, that's actually not true. But
I would second that with Hilton Head.
At least I'm doing installations. I'm gonna be able to do it in a different way, but I won't be able to do any installations. So
You
that's
could in
my-
Hilton Head because I could hook you up with people that could get you a lot of business.
So we'll see.
anyway, it doesn't matter. I don't think he's considered Chicago. I love
know.
Chicago.
That's
I
okay.
consider buying a second home in Chicago. I don't want to move from Chicago. Let me put it to you that way. Let me just say it that way.
Didn't you get robbed not too long ago? Broken into?
That can happen.
Is that you?
Broken into my
That can
van.
happen
That can happen anywhere.
Anywhere.
Anywhere. Somebody took
What
a
show?
power
What,
plaza.
what show was it? Right, Plaza, Kansas City.
Yeah. That can happen
Oh,
anywhere.
I thought it was Chicago.
No.
Barry,
Somebody
do you go to Great Gulf Coast? Anybody going to Great Gulf Coast?
No.
No,
Where's that?
that's
Pensacola.
Pensacola.
what's it called? To me, that market doesn't work for me. It's too. The average income in there is about 50 grand last time I checked, and most people will not buy my work for X, Y reason. And then comes the other part that we don't speak about anymore. Same reason why I don't go to Alabama. Alabama was the first place that somebody told me, I like your work, but you Hispanic, I will not buy work from Hispanic. So
Oh,
since then, I don't
geez.
go to Alabama.
Really? Somebody said that to you?
Yeah, that's what I don't go to Food Hope anymore.
That's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
So since then, I just keep my mouth shut. So there's a lot of things that I deal with every day that I don't say to people.
Well, Allison and I have the same problem, and it's been since birth. So,
Right.
Yeah,
right,
but
Allison?
Except we walk down the street and, nobody necessarily knows.
That's right. Well, that's right.
So that's a
Till they ask me
difference.
my name, and not even then because they're ignorant. But
Right.
then they're free to be themselves. They're free to make comments, and they don't realize that they're insulting you.
That's right.
So,
Well, it happens to women too.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right. It does.
Lots of course, I don't know. I would say it's hard to compare. Like it seems like it's hard to have.
I don't think we have to compare.
Yeah, it's just like.
That's
our
right.
world-
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? The Pensacola show. There used to be a show at Disney, in Disney Marketplace, and
I
really
think I've heard of it.
it was fun. Well, they don't have it anymore. It was
Yeah.
fun, and
talk about
and people always paired that one with Pensacola, so you'd have two in Florida. For me, it was just like it paid for a vacation in November when it was getting cold up north. So you'd go to Florida in November, like it was the weekend before Thanksgiving, and it was fun to get to, so you go in November and then you go in February. It kind of cut your winter down to a few months, which was great.
Yeah.
So, but they don't have it anymore.
They
It's only
never
5
used to let
hours.
photography in.
Great Gulf Coast,
No,
Or-
Disney.
Disney. Oh,
Really?
well, Great
Yeah.
Pensacola one is only 5 hours away from me, so I'll be sleeping on a boat. I'm pretty excited.
Cool.
But and Larry, yes, I'm not going to. Like I say, I'm not talking to people about that shit anymore.
Yeah,
I
but
just
you
go to-
did. I mean, this is on YouTube.
Oh. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, we're being recorded, remember?
Yeah, and probably the last time I ever talk about this ever again. I
That's
make my
good.
peace with it.
I mean, I've defended
You know what?
photographers based on the way you're printing for years.
In Virginia Beach, it was funny. In Virginia Beach, the person that won the best in photography, he won it because he was printing in a black and white wet lab. Nothing to do with the work in general. The lady just, because he do black and white printing in the wet lab. That's what we gave him the prize winner. And
Yeah,
everybody's looking at really?
Bullshit. It should be about the image, not about
Right.
how it was created.
Exactly.
That's the same way as I.
And that's a high dollar prize, right?
Yep.
Like 15 grand?
I don't know. That's Virginia Beach. No, not that much for Virginia Beach. The person that won the best show in Virginia Beach is a painter. She's really good, and I like her. She's been my neighbor. But quite honest with you, I think that Thomas Workley should have won the award. He didn't even got a merit. It was like a wow. But
But that's how judging
the
goes.
jury,
It's always subjective.
one of the jurors said that it's a lot of politics in that show. She tried really hard to get him something, but it's all politics in that show. So
I
whatever.
think that's how Gasparilla has become very political, at least with the awards, it seems to me. There's a certain bias,
Yeah.
including
But
getting
who
in.
knows?
It's
See,
my
this
only
is
Florida
This is my
rejection.
Halloween costume.
Cool. I don't see how I can tell the difference between the two of you. You look so much alike.
Right,
White hair.
right. He doesn't want the glasses.
So, hey, Allison, did you say you're coming to Florida? You're doing something in Florida or not?
No, not that I know of. I mean, I might end up teaching. It's not anything definitive yet.
I mean, a show. Any shows? I mean,
No,
did you apply to
No.
anything?
no.
Yeah.
I
Just
didn't-
curious.
So Laura, are you doing the Pensacola show then?
Oh, yeah, I am. I'm like I said, I was staying on a boat. I'm super excited. My
You
daughter's
should be.
going,
Cool.
my daughter is going with me. She's 23 and she usually only goes one show with me each year. She makes us eat sushi at every meal.
Great.
We eat out once a day. When I go to a show, I'll do a restaurant once a day. She's like, sushi.
Hey, I'm with you.
I got to tell you one thing: keep it away from all the old pervert artists around there.
The older artists.
All
Oh,
the
Pervert.
pervert
Yeah.
artists around.
she's such an introvert. She does not talk to people. She doesn't. She's not going. She's not
It's
going
nothing
to
to do with.
Yeah,
Yeah, she might draw a crowd.
she is lovely. I'm super excited.
It's kind of funny every time I see an artist with her daughter and they're in the 20s. All the older artists are eating at her, and I'm going like I just shaking my head, and they're looking at me like I'm staying out of that. I'm not saying any word. So, but it's hilarious because you go and you see all the time. You go like, God have mercy. So, something that happens all the time.
I don't understand what you're saying. Are you just talking about them being attractive, the 20-year-olds? I mean,
Yeah,
they're-
you got it.
Sure. I mean, 20-year-old boys are too, but they're still just boys. They're
Yeah, I know.
like a little
I just
wind
like-
up
Yeah, he's
boy.
talking about
Figure it
40-year-old
out.
men,
They wouldn't know what to do with a
40-year-old
woman.
artists.
Yeah. Well,
You figure
to me, a 20-year-old is not tempting whatsoever. They're just they're fully formed humans, but they're not. They don't have
That's
that
good to hear,
experience.
Laura. That's right. That's right. Okay,
They're just-
so
just like little
let's mark
squeaky
that down. Laura likes somebody with experience. I love
Yeah. I don't 20-year-olds. My husband asked me that once. I was like, yeah, no, that's my son's age. That's gross.
yeah.
it. Yeah. Plus, you have to
Oh my-
teach them.
No,
It's too much
how you
work.
saying that? Let's just change subject. I forget saying that.
All right.
Oh,
change-
I ended up getting to go to River Arts Fest. River Arts Fest, is that the name? In Memphis. They called me off the wait list. So that was really exciting.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
How
I
you
sold-
did?
Yeah, I sold my anchor piece, my price anchor when I was there. That made my show.
So now you have to make another one.
I've been doing it frantically. Yeah. It's drying now. So I think it'll be dry enough to transport.
Yeah, I think that you need to make at least 5 of those.
Oh, no way.
Right.
This one's
Ha ha.
it's so freaking heavy. Why do I do that to myself? I don't know, but now I'll have
You
another
should
real.
do 5. You don't have to take it all of them. You can make all 5 and then do the show, and then you don't have to kill yourself with the next show
Yeah.
making a new one.
No thanks.
Oh,
This one has
that's all.
trophies on it, and it's gonna be 4 feet long. It's gonna be so heavy.
Yeah, you should make it. You should have at least 5 of them.
You're being ironic, Oscar. I know.
Yeah, yeah.
No, seriously.
What time is it?
It
25
should
to
be
6.
5:34 on your side. Well, it's nice talking to you guys. I will keep that in advice with you, Larry. I promise I'll be better. I'll see you guys next week.
All right.
Okay, that was
All right,
fun.
take care.
See ya.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, see
Bye,
ya.
everybody.
Thanks, Larry.
Happy Halloween.